Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. Tider Insider TV, brought to you by Visit Tuscaloosa.
All right. It's a good week in Tuscaloosa. And we said last week on the show that how this town was going to be feeling, how Bama fans were going to be feeling, was going to be directly related to the outcome of that game this past Saturday night in Athens. Once again, it goes Alabama's way against Georgia. Good evening and welcome into Tider Insider TV, presented by Visit Tuscaloosa, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris. And yeah, Alabama got it done. The Crimson Tide started SEC play 1-0 and continued its dominance over Georgia this past Saturday in front of 93,000 in Sanford Stadium between the hedges. Alabama jumped out fast again, Rod, just like they did last year. 14-0, 17-3, 24-14 at the half, and then kind of held on in the second half. Did not score a single point, but unlike last year, they continued to hold Georgia down. Georgia only scored 7 points in the second half. Alabama gets the win, 24-21 in the process, snaps a 33-game home winning streak for the Dogs at Sanford Stadium. Alabama's won 10 of its last 11 against Georgia. Kirby Smart falls to 1-7 against the Tide all time. And, it was such a good game plan, such a great start for Alabama. In the second half, it got hairy. The defense gave. But in the modern game of college football, Rod, we've talked about this. It's about holding teams to field goal attempts, getting off the field on third down, sometimes getting a stop on fourth down, winning the turnover battle. And Alabama did all that. And they were awesome on third down offensively, got off the field on third down defensively, and held on for the win.
Yeah, they did all those things really well. Gary did not turn the ball over again. We talked about that last week, how key it would be. Got off to a great start, back-to-back 14-play drives. And you know what? We said, how would Alabama respond to adversity? You and I talked when Ryan Williams dropped that ball. And I said, Gary, this is an opportunity to see how Alabama's going to respond to this adversity. I mean, this is a momentum killer. When you drop a ball like that, could be, but Alabama did not. Was not negatively impacted there. Had a 14-play drive, jumped out, as you said, Gary, quickly 14-0. But look, the defense, let's just be honest, they got gashed in the run game several times. I mean, there were times when there was just literally no edge at all, and Georgia got made big plays and all that. They rushed for 227 yards, Georgia did. But you know what? In the fourth quarter, that Alabama defense, they rose to the occasion. They had the stop down there on 4th and 1 that Georgia had a chance to kick the field goal. They eschew that, and Alabama stops him. And then late in the game, Bama forces a punt. The offense comes alive. They get a couple of first downs. They hit that. It was a great play call there at the end to seal the game. So when you look at it, I think it's what Ty Simpson said. Alabama played complimentary football. Yeah,
that's like we talked about on our program last week. We talked about it on my radio show. This is modern college football. The goal is just to try to find a way to win the game every week, because every game in this league, I think, for Alabama is going to be like this. A game that you can win, or a game, if you don't play well, that you can lose. And obviously that starts with Vanderbilt. We'll get to that game in the next segment. All right, let's talk about injuries, though, on defense. You've got James Smith. Tim Smith played for the Tide last year. James Smith is going to miss the first half, not because of an injury, but because of a targeting. But you are going to be without Quay Russaw possibly for an extended amount of time, even the whole regular season. Jamarian Latham, we know, is out for the season. So you're going to be a little short-handed on defense to start that game against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you are. But, this is opportunities. I mean, we saw some guys step up. I thought Edric Hill played really nice. He made some big plays in that game. L.T. Overton's taking that leadership role, made a big play. You got Tim Keenan back. London Simmons is really good. Jan Pierre is, he shows up. I mean, he's a guy that can really rush the passer, makes big plays. So Justin Hill got in the game, the true freshman from Cincinnati. So you are playing some younger guys, but that happens to everybody. Yeah. You've got to be able to recover from injuries.
On the other side of the ball, the run game was good enough, I guess. It wasn't great, but over 100 yards rushing, enough to keep Georgia honest. And then when Ty Simpson's playing like he's playing, 24 of 38, 276 yards, accounted for 3 touchdowns, 2 throwing, 1 running. And, of course, as we mentioned, had a beautiful ball to Ryan Williams on the first drive that he dropped that would have been a touchdown. So you don't have to go out and be dominant in the run game when you have a quarterback playing this well, but you do need a threat of the run. And I thought with Jam Miller and Kevin Riley, they had that.
They did, and I thought too, Gary, they also created some ways to run the football with Jeremy Bernard. Of course, you saw Caden Proctor there, of course. play that's drawn a lot of attention. And you mentioned Ty Simspon. I mean, I think Ty's carrying the team right now. I mean, I think the way his play is, he's playing at such a high level. He's making all these throws, and he's making smart decisions, has not turned the ball over. That's really key. And listen, you got to talk about the offensive line, too. I think they've done a fantastic job. And what about Northwoods product Wilkin Formby? Gary, I think Pro Football Focus gave him like a 93 grade or whatever it was. But, you know, he played different positions.
Yeah,
he played
inside, outside.
Started right tackle, moved into right guard. He did a fantastic job at both those spots.
And again, Simpson just continues to be fantastic. Co-SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Rodney, he has not turned the ball over, as you said, at all. Alabama hasn't turned it over. Let's just be honest. You keep playing turnover free, plus they only had 4 penalties for 16 yards in the game against Georgia.
In that atmosphere.
You're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they've got that's clean football. That's playing clean football. And you talk about Ty again. He's making smart decisions. He's putting the ball where he really did not put the ball in harm's way. One time, Gary, he did that one time when he threw that early throw that was almost intercepted. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, his passes were in a place where only the receiver could catch the ball.
All right, the tide is rolling. That's a huge win. Now, before we get to Coach Talk again, I don't want to make more out of it than I should, because there's 8 games left, and a big one that we're going to talk about in the next segment. But in terms of where this program was at, having lost to Florida State, if you lose this game, you're 2-2 overall. You're 0-1 in the league. It's a negative vibe around the program. In the short term, for Kalen DeBoer and his coaching staff, Rodney, I'm just going to tell it like it is. This was a huge win. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I qualify how big this win was.
Well, I tell you, you can go back to that Florida State game. We remember the week after that. I mean, it was one of the worst weeks I think we've had in many, many, many years. But I would say this. Their backs were to the wall.
Yeah.
And we said then, okay, you need to take a baby step against ULM, come back, beat Wisconsin. That's another step. Take the week off, fine-tune, be ready for Georgia. It may seem far-fetched, but guess what? That became a reality Saturday night against Georgia. Now Alabama really has everything in front of them.
It sure does. And toughness, too. They showed some toughness in that game, which you had to have if you were going to win in Georgia. All right, now it's time for Coach Talk. The Alabama offense was unstoppable in the first half, it seemed like, against Georgia, going 9 of 11 on third down in the first 30 minutes. And even after being slowed down in the second half, Alabama remained efficient, finishing 13 of 19 on third downs, and also, as we said, didn't turn the ball over and made enough plays to win the game, including that big 4th down and 5 to clinch it. Former Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban, now an analyst for ESPN Game Day, spoke at the Birmingham Monday Morning Quarterback Club, and he talked to the media about that offensive performance and the coordinator, Ryan Grubb.
I think Ryan Grubb has done a really, really good job. I thought, the game plan that they had against Georgia, the execution, 13 for 19 on third down, starting out the game, 8 for 8 on third down against a multiple defense that's really good defense. It does a lot of stuff, takes a lot of planning and preparation. Obviously, Ty Simspon did a good job, but so this is what I see being really good coaching.
Of course, Nick Saban tried to hire Ryan Grubb.
He did.
So but he was very complimentary, and I will be too. I mean, the game plan, again, give Georgia credit. That's a great staff. It was not as easy to come by yards and points in the second half, but the game plan in the first half, even after you said like Grubb, after they dialed up and Williams dropped the touchdown to go down and score, but Georgia was on their heels.
They were
not being very aggressive because Alabama was dictating to them.
Well, it's kind of what we said last week. Alabama's going to come out. They're going to be aggressive offensively. We felt they would. Ryan Grubb would be taking some shots. He did right off the bat, got them on their heels. Even though that pass was not completed to Ryan Williams, Gary, it sent a message that Alabama was going to be aggressive, and then Ty continued to make throws.
Yeah, just a great, great win for the Crimson Tide. All right, still to come on Tider Insider Television. We'll take a look at Alabama's upcoming game against Vanderbilt, and it is a huge game. That's where we're at in college football. Game day's coming to T-Town for the Vanderbilt game. 2 years ago, people would have laughed if you had said that. But Vandy deserves respect, and they're going to get it from Alabama. You have to respect them after what they did last year. Plus, recruiting is never far away from Rodney Orr's thoughts, and Alabama has picked up a big-time offensive lineman in the 2027 recruiting class. We'll have that for you, and the Vanderbilt preview coming up next when TITV continues. And just a little bit later on, your phone calls, emails. The phone number, as always, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Go ahead and get through. The calls have been coming fast the last few weeks. We want to hear from you. We'll be back after this.
our success that we had on Saturday, none of it matters. None of it carries over. The third down stops, the third down execution on offense, it doesn't matter. Points don't carry over.
And that's why he's the head football coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, because he's 100% right. Absolutely right. And that has to be the mindset. Welcome back into TITV alongside Rodney Orr. I'm Gary Harris. We saw this scenario last year, a little bit different, home and away. But Alabama beat Georgia at home, went to Vanderbilt as the number one team in the country, and got whipped. And, give Vanderbilt a lot of credit. They were ready to go. Alabama wasn't as ready maybe as they should have been. Now this year, because of what happened in that game last year, because Diego Pavia talked before the game, during the game, and after the game, the fact that they're 5-0, and Alabama's coming off that win over Georgia, College game day is coming to Tuscaloosa. Rodney, let's talk about this Vanderbilt team. And it has been, I think, the really an example of what modern college football allows you to do. Vanderbilt, Clark Lee's a good coach. I thought he was a good hire when they brought him in from Notre Dame, where he'd been the defensive coordinator, former Vanderbilt fullback. But they were pretty much Vanderbilt. But because of NIL, because of portal, he's a smart guy, that it wasn't going to happen for them traditional recruiting-wise. They bring in Jerry Kill, the former head coach of New Mexico State. He brings in Diego Pavia. They go to the portal. They change their team. Pavia is something special. And they beat Alabama last year. And they did it 40-35 and had all the answers. So now this game is a huge football game, and there's no excuses for Alabama now. You know exactly what you're dealing with. You know what happened last year. You should be ready to play.
Well, see, I think the thing that happened last year was Alabama fell behind early, was trying to play catch-up the whole time. Pavia kept Alabama off balance. You mentioned the third downs. They were 12 of 18 last year on third downs. Very effective. Vanderbilt controlled the ball 42 minutes in that game, over 42 minutes.
Crazy.
Alabama was 17-52, but Alabama scored 35 points in that 17 minutes of possession time. They just couldn't get the ball enough. And, again, Pavia was a big key in that. He gives you that elusiveness, but yet he's a good enough passer. I mean, this is Vanderbilt, Gary. They're averaging close to 500 yards a game. They're averaging 49 points a game. They're only giving up 17. So they're a balanced football team, and they've got the tight end back, Eli Stowers, who just killed Alabama last year.
He's a special player.
So he's their leading receiver. So, it's going to be a real tough.
Yeah, last year Pavia threw for 252, 2 touchdowns. He ran 20 times for 56 yards. He's got 15 touchdowns this year, 3 picks, and he's a playmaker. And he's such a playmaker, this won't surprise anybody. We know how beating Bama is a big deal. Johnny Manziel says he's coming to the game, that he's going to be wearing a Diego Pavia jersey, and he'll be trying to bring back, I guess, the magic from 2012. But this guy's, I wouldn't say he's exactly like Johnny Manziel. He's probably not quite as quick, even though he is quick. But
got that swagger.
Yeah,
He's got the swagger.
And that's ironic that Manziel wants to come be a part of it. So, Rodney, I'll say this about Vanderbilt. They're also very good up front on offensive line. Big time, powerful offensive line, been good on defense. But it starts with Pavia. You have got to contain him. You can't let him have the same kind of game he had against you last year, or they're going to beat you again.
Yeah, the third downs is going to be really key. Third down defense, the pass rush lanes, which I thought Alabama did a better job against that with Gunnar Stockton. There you see, he can escape the pocket. He can kill you on third downs with the runs. So here's what I think, Gary. I think Alabama has to play ahead. Play 2 scores ahead, 10 points, whatever. You got to stay 10 points ahead or double digits ahead, 2 scores. Gives you a great opportunity, because if you're playing behind with this guy, man, it makes it really tough.
Yeah, they're averaging nearly 500 yards of offense a game. As you mentioned, Stowers last year against Alabama, 6 catches for 113 yards. They didn't have any answers for him. So Alabama is going to have to be on their game. But as I said earlier, right before we wrap up this segment and get on to recruiting, mentally, I don't think last year they were dialed in. They had just beaten Georgia. We didn't know yet Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had lost to Georgia State. No excuses, but I don't think Alabama went in there and took them as seriously as they should have. They paid the price. Alabama will be ready to play. If Vanderbilt comes in here and win, you'll just have to tip your hat to them, because I have no doubt that Alabama's going to prepare just like they did for Georgia.
Yeah, and Alabama made so many key mistakes. You remember they had the guys on the field, 2 number 2s at the same time that extended a drive. You get a pick 6. You have an opportunity there. You're driving. You're in the game, and you get hit and fumble.
Yeah.
The Milrow. So those kind of things that get you beat. You cannot give up possessions against a guy like Pavia.
4th down, you have a blitz. You don't get to Pavia. He throws it over the top for a touchdown. You got to make those plays. All right, we'll have our predictions on this game coming up a little bit later on. I bet a lot of people are hoping I pick against Alabama since I did last week and they won. All right, let's get to recruiting. The 2027 recruiting class is really starting to it'll start coming into focus focus here, and it already is. Alabama picks up a 4-star offensive line commit from Jartori Williams, Central Phoenix City, 6'4", 330 pounds, interior offensive lineman. Listen, his finalists were Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. That's all you really need to know about this guy. Powerful interior offensive lineman, and a guy that plays at a great program and is going to be one of the top players in the class of 2027 from the state of Alabama.
Yeah, you go down to Phoenix City. You know, Alabama used to make hay down there.
Yeah.
I mean, Woodrow Lowe, Eddie Lowe, Jeremiah Castile, Billy Jackson, go on and on and on with the great players that have come from Phoenix City Central. Dried up for a while, but now that flow's coming. And Jartori Williams, Gary, you talk about he's 6'5", he's maybe 325, 330 right now. And again, it's early. Listen, you got to hold on to guys for a long time when they commit early like this, but there's no question he's one of the top 50, 75 players in the country heading into his recruiting class.
And I have no doubt he notices and has been told by Coach Cap, hey, Michael Carroll, Will Sanders, Jackson Lloyd, all getting snaps very early in their career for the Crimson Tide on the offensive line. Well, still to come on TITV, our weekly Bama in the NFL segment. We'll show you which Crimson Tide stars from the past stood out in the NFL. And up next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, that phone number, 205-348-9882. Let us hear from you, Tider Insider Nation. It's your time to sound off. We'll be right back with the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tider Insider TV. It's time for Bama in the NFL. As always, we can't show you everybody, but we can show you Jahad Campbell here coming up. Really, the game-saving play right here. Tampa Bay was about to try to have a touchdown and 2-point conversion and tie it up. He gets the pick there off Baker Mayfield. Here's Bryce Young with a touchdown. Panthers lost at New England, but Bryce continues to run that team. They just got to get better players around him. And, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs is a touchdown machine as the Lions beat up on the Browns 34-10. All right, welcome back into TITV. Let's get the phone calls. They're lined up for us. Bill in Birmingham is going to lead us off. Hey, Bill.
Hey, guys. Roll Tide. Tell us about the defensive preparation for the Vandy game coming up. Thank you.
Well, they have their hands full. I tell you what, you got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to adjust on the fly to things that they do. You know, and again, we talked about it all starts with Pavia. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got to contain him. You got to try to keep him in the pocket. And when you have an opportunity to get him on the ground, you have to do that. They did not do that last year. You got to be successful on third downs. He had a lot of success pulling the ball down. And again, they've got a variety of receivers that are very productive. We talked about Stowers. So Alabama certainly has its hands full. And you know, Gary, look, Vanderbilt's rushing for over 200 yards a game. I mean, again, they're balanced. It really makes it tough with the things they do. They've got some trickery involved. So this is a real challenge for Alabama. And, you know, frankly, Alabama didn't seem to make the adjustments last year. So it's going to be really interesting now that they've had that year to be able to see this offense and how they're going to kind of come out Saturday.
Yeah, can't let them control the clock on you, that's for sure. Let's go to Walker County and talk to our pal Sammy. Hey, Sammy.
Hey, Gary. I just want to comment on Ty Simpson there. You know, he's bringing leadership and he's bringing confidence, enthusiasm, and all those qualities, and that's why they're doing so great, I think.
Sammy, you make great points. We've talked a lot about it. And Rodney, just maybe a short answer to this because we've talked so much about Ty. But, yeah, he's bringing all that.
He is bringing it all. I mean, look, we started hearing in camp how he had really, you saw his command, his confidence. And maybe in that FSU game, maybe that was a good thing. I mean, because it gave him an opportunity to battle through some adversity, and he's really bounced back and taken control.
All right, coming up, we'll get to another phone call and our email question of the day when TITV continues. All right, let's get another phone call in from Jeff, who has been patiently waiting over in Birmingham. Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, Gary and Rodney. Gary, real quick, I enjoy your Football Friday show very much.
Thank you.
And Rodney, I've got a question. It's a basketball question. How close do you think Alabama is to maybe landing Caleb Holt and Corey Clore?
Rod, Caleb Holt is the guy I think that they're really focused on. Yeah. He's from Hazel Green High School, even though he's playing down in South Florida now after stopping off in Georgia. But he's one of the top players in the country, and he's an Alabama native. So I think that's going to be their focus.
Yeah, and I know Clore, he's got a top 5 right now. He's supposed to be making a decision
I don't
soon.
feel good about Alabama there.
Yeah, we'll see. Florida's in there real heavily, and Ohio State, a couple others.
Caleb Holt, I think, is a guy that they are going to do everything they can to sign. They also had Brandon McCoy in here, the number 2 player in the country this past weekend, and still recruiting the Ratliff twins. So let's get to our email question of the day, brought to you by KDM Service Corporation. Our email question of the day is the following. From Tom and Vestavia, is there a chance we could see Keon Keeley in the DL rotation?
Well, you would hope so. I mean, he was a 5-star rated player coming out of high school, one of the top players in the country, made the adjustment to bandit defensive end. He's gotten bigger, stronger, faster, all of those things, but he hasn't gotten a lot more playing time. So, we'll see. He does seem to have really good pass rush skills, but again, we'll see.
All right, prediction time when we come back to TITV. Stay with us. Prediction time. Rodney, as always, you lead us off.
Well, Gary, again, you're going against Diego Pavia, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. He's already beat Alabama once. How will it go in this game? I think Alabama's got to play ahead, like I said early. It's going to be a real challenge, but I've got Alabama 45-34.
All right, Rodney, I picked against the Tide last week, and I was wrong, which is a good thing. I'm happy that I was. This week, not going to do that. And listen, I got a lot of respect for Vanderbilt. I know the team does, but Alabama wants this game. And it's bad news for Vanderbilt that Alabama's dialed in here. I got the Tide, and I got to win it by a little more of a substantial margin. I think the defense is going to step out. Let's go ahead and pull my score up so we can show it to everybody. I got it 38-21.
Wow.
So I think Bama's going to take care of some business on Saturday afternoon against a very good Vanderbilt team. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of TITV, presented by Visit Tuscaloosa. A reminder, you can catch a replay tonight at 10:30 or find it anytime at WVUA23.com. We're going to leave you tonight with Alabama's celebration between the hedges on Saturday night, man. They got to have a party at Sanford Stadium. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again next week on Tider Insider Television.